What if I told you there's a psychological pattern formed before you could even speak that's been secretly sabotaging every relationship you've ever had? By the end of this video, you'll discover which of the 4 attachment styles is controlling your love life, and why 73% of people have no idea they're trapped in patterns that push away the very connection they're desperately seeking. It's 11:47 p.m. on a Thursday night in Brooklyn. The blue glow of a phone screen illuminates a face twisted with anxiety in a dimly lit bedroom. Jessica has been staring at the same text message for the past 23 minutes. Hey, had a great time tonight. Talk soon. Talk soon? What does that even mean? Soon like tomorrow? Soon like next week? And why didn't he say he had an amazing time? Just great? Jessica sets the phone down, picks it up again, starts typing a response, deletes it, starts over. This cycle has become as familiar as breathing. The endless analysis, the constant need for reassurance, the way her stomach knots every time someone takes longer than expected to text back. At 28, Jessica is successful, intelligent, and by all accounts, a catch. She has a thriving career as a graphic designer, a close group of friends, and a beautiful apartment she's proud of. But when it comes to relationships, she feels like she's constantly failing a test she doesn't understand. Her last 3 relationships followed the same devastating pattern. It starts with intense chemistry, the kind of connection that makes her friends jealous. But then slowly, something shifts. She becomes hypervigilant about every text, every tone of voice, every subtle change in behavior. She starts asking questions that sound innocent but carry the weight of her insecurity. Are we okay? You seem distant today. Do you still feel the same way about me? The men she dates, kind, emotionally available men who are genuinely interested in her, begin to feel suffocated. They pull back slightly to breathe, which triggers more anxiety, more questions, more clinging. It's a dance of destruction she's performed so many times she could choreograph it. There's something wrong with me, she whispers to the empty room, her phone finally face down on the nightstand. I ruin everything good. But Jessica doesn't know that across the city, Marcus is having the exact opposite problem with the exact same root cause. 3 weeks later, Jessica finds herself sitting across from Dr. Sarah Chen, a therapist she finally called after her most recent relationship imploded in spectacular fashion. Tell me about your childhood, Dr. Chen says, her voice gentle but direct. Jessica rolls her eyes slightly. Do we really have to do the whole childhood thing? I mean, I'm here about my dating problems, not my parents. Humor me, Dr. Chen smiles. What was it like growing up in your house? Jessica shifts uncomfortably. I don't know. Normal, I guess. My mom worked a lot. She was a nurse, so she had crazy hours. My dad left when I was 7. But it wasn't traumatic or anything, she adds quickly. My mom did her best. She was just busy, stressed. I learned to take care of myself pretty early. Dr. Chen nods, making notes. What happened when you were upset as a child? When you needed comfort? The question hangs in the air like a challenge. Jessica's mind races through memories she spent years avoiding. Coming home from school to an empty house. Learning to make her own dinner at age 9. Her mother working double shifts and falling asleep on the couch, too exhausted for bedtime stories or heart-to-heart talks. I handled it myself, Jessica says finally. Mom was dealing with enough. And when your father left? How did your family talk about that? Jessica's throat tightens. We didn't. Mom said he wasn't worth crying over and we just moved on. But I did cry, Jessica thinks. I cried every night for months and no one knew because I learned that needing comfort meant being a burden. Dr. Chen leans forward slightly. Jessica, have you ever heard of attachment theory? Like, getting attached to people? Yeah. That's obviously my problem. Not quite. Dr. Chen pulls out a simple diagram. Attachment theory explains how our earliest relationships, primarily with our caregivers, create templates for how we connect with others throughout our entire lives. There are 4 main attachment styles, and understanding yours can be life-changing. She draws 4 quadrants on a piece of paper. Secure attachment, about 60% of people. They're comfortable with intimacy and independence. Then there's anxious attachment, about 20%. They crave closeness, but fear abandonment. Avoidant attachment, another 20%. They value independence over intimacy and often push people away. And finally, disorganized attachment, about 5%, a a combination of anxious and avoidant that creates chaotic relationship patterns. Jessica stares at the diagram, something clicking in her chest like a key turning in a lock. The anxious one, she whispers. That's me, isn't it? Dr. Chen nods. Tell me why you think that. Because, Jessica's voice breaks slightly. Because I'm constantly terrified that everyone I care about is going to leave. Because I analyze every interaction for signs of rejection. Because I need so much reassurance that I end up pushing people away by trying to pull them closer. But here's what I don't understand, Jessica continues, tears starting to form. I know I do this. I can see it happening in real time. So why can't I stop? Because, Dr. Chen says gently, these patterns were formed when your brain was still developing. When you were 7 and your father left, when your mother was too overwhelmed to provide consistent emotional support, your nervous system learned that love was unpredictable and dangerous. It learned to constantly scan for threats to connection. Jessica thinks about Marcus, the guy she'd been dating when this all started. Sweet, patient Marcus, who'd slowly stopped responding to her texts with the same enthusiasm, who'd gently suggested they take things slow after she'd asked him to be exclusive after 3 weeks. I scared him away, didn't I? She asks. You responded to him the way your nervous system has been trained to respond to potential loss, Dr. Chen explains. It's not your fault, but it is your responsibility to heal. 6 months later, Jessica is standing in her kitchen making coffee on a Saturday morning. Her phone buzzes with a text from David, the man she's been dating for 2 months. Running late to brunch? Be there in 20. The old Jessica would have immediately spiraled. Late why? Is he losing interest? Is this the beginning of the end? But this Jessica takes a deep breath and notices the sensation of her feet on the floor, the warmth of the coffee mug in her hands, the sunlight streaming through her window. He's running late to brunch, she says to herself. That's all. That's the only data I have, she texts back. No worries. See you soon. And then, this is the part that still amazes her. She puts her phone down and continues making coffee without analyzing the exchange 17 different ways. The breakthrough had come 3 months into therapy, during a session where Dr. Chen had asked her to imagine comforting her 7-year-old self the night her father left. What would you say to that little girl? Dr. Chen had asked. I would tell her? Jessica had paused, tears streaming down her face. I would tell her that it's not her fault, that she's worthy of love, that one person leaving doesn't mean everyone will leave. And what does that little girl need to feel safe? Consistency? Patience? Someone who shows up even when she's scared and needy and asking the same questions over and over. Jessica, Dr. Chen had said softly, you can be that person for yourself now. You can give yourself the security you never received. That was the moment everything shifted. Not because the anxiety disappeared, it didn't, but because Jessica finally understood that her attachment style wasn't a character flaw or a relationship death sentence. It was a survival strategy her nervous system had developed to protect her, and like any strategy, it could be updated with new information. She learned to recognize her triggers before they hijacked her behavior. She practiced self-soothing techniques that helped regulate her nervous system when the old panic set in. Most importantly, she started dating David with full transparency about her attachment style and her journey to heal it. I sometimes get anxious in relationships, she told him after their 5th date. Not because of anything you're doing wrong, but because of patterns I'm working to change. I'm in therapy, I'm committed to growing, and I wanted you to know because honesty feels better than pretending I'm someone I'm not. David's response had surprised her. Thank you for telling me. I actually think I might be more on the avoidant side. I sometimes pull back when things get intense. Maybe we can figure this out together. Here's what Jessica learned that changed everything. Your attachment style isn't your destiny, it's your starting point. Understanding whether you're anxious, avoidant, disorganized, or secure doesn't label you. It liberates you. Because here's the truth most people never realize. We're all walking around with invisible instruction manuals for love that were written when we were children. Most of us never bother to read these manuals, let alone update them with adult wisdom and healing. If you recognized yourself in Jessica's story, if you've ever found yourself analyzing texts until 2 a.m., asking, are we okay? More than you'd like to admit? Or feeling like you need constant reassurance to feel secure in love? You might have an anxious attachment style. And that's not a life sentence. It's valuable information. But anxious attachment is just one piece of the puzzle. In the next video, we're diving deep into avoidant attachment, the people who seem emotionally unavailable but are actually protecting themselves from the terror of being too vulnerable. You'll meet Marcus, the man from Jessica's story, and discover how his childhood taught him that independence was safer than intimacy. Hit that subscribe button right now because understanding all 4 attachment styles will revolutionize how you approach every relationship in your life. Not just romantic ones, friendships, family dynamics, even professional relationships. This isn't just psychology theory, it's the key to breaking patterns that have been running your life since childhood. And here's your homework. I want you to think about your earliest memories of needing comfort. Who was available? How did they respond? What did you learn about whether it was safe to need other people? Drop your insights in the comments. You'll be amazed how much clarity can come from just asking these questions. If you're ready to go deeper, I've created a free attachment style assessment that goes beyond the basic quiz you'll find online. It's designed to help you understand not just which style you are, but how it shows up specifically in your relationships. The link is in the description below. Remember, you are not broken, you are not too much, and you are not destined to repeat the same relationship patterns forever. You're simply operating with outdated software that can be updated with awareness, compassion, and the right tools. Your 7-year-old self did the best they could to keep you safe. Now it's time to show them, and yourself, what love can look like when you're not just surviving it, but truly receiving it. The journey to secure attachment is possible, no matter where you're starting from, and it begins with understanding exactly where you are right now.